seems to fly by when you don't want it to. I came prepared today. Got my phase pistol and my razor. Not that it's going to do me any good. But still, if I want to end it quickly, I know which one to use. Well, for those who did not see last week's episode, I read this story called The Land Before Time, Journey Across Time. Well, today's episode is going to involve me reading the sequel to this story. And there's a couple more sequels to follow after this. And there's even a prequel, but I'm going to read the prequel last. So, my fellow viewers, today I'm going to be reading The Land Before Time, Journey Across Time 2 by Belmont 2500. It's rated T, it's in English, it's adventure, suspense, and has 7 reviews. And also, this story is about like 4,000 words long, so it's half the length of the first story, so the review hopefully won't be as long as before, unless I spend most of the review tearing my hair out. Let's hope to God that I'm not bald by the end of this. So, let's begin. The Land Before Time Unleashed 2, Redemption by Belmont 2500, setting after the Land Before Time films, TV show, and the Land Before Time fanfic. I got a lot of bad reviews about the original Land Before Time, so consider this fanfic my redemption. Huh? So this isn't this... This is a sequel, but they're acting like it's a retelling. No, it's not a sequel. It is a sequel, thank God. But why is the title different? The title is called The Land Before Time, Journey Across Time 2 when you search for the fanfic, and yet in this it says The Land Before Time Unleashed 2. Unleashed is not in the original title. About a month ago, a rift appeared in California, and a boy named Ethan Sullivan was whisked away by it. He ended up in the Great Valley. I love that they do not have the Great Valley capitalized, seeing it's a name, and found out about that what his rival Andrew Jones was plotting. Andrew had known then what he had to do in his effort to save the Great Valley from the Spartans and Andrew. What? What? What is this? This did not happen in the first fanfic. What is this? I'm too lazy to write about what happened, so I'm just doing a brief little fuck-up summary here. Fuck you, Belmont. You need to explain these things, not just say, gonna half-ass it. Well, this is what happened. I'm too lazy to write this story, so I'm just gonna do a half-ass thing about it in the sequel. You don't do that! Then he was sent back to his home, but he knew one day he would return. Now that time has come. Ethan was in the 8th grade. Well, wasn't he in the 8th grade before, seeing he's supposed to be 14? Oh my God! Ethan was at school. It was a peaceful Friday, and he was ready to go home for the weekend. The bell rang, and he started walking. Suddenly, he heard a familiar voice. Hey, you little fool, get over here. It was Andrew. Andrew didn't die after all. No, I said I was going to do it. I said I was going to do it. I'm confused because it's like an entire story is missing. This is labeled... Andrew didn't die after all. He was just thrown out of the last rift while Ethan got to stay a little longer. Now Andrew was planning on getting back at Ethan, for Ethan getting him thrown out of the rift. Ethan ran, for he wasn't looking for trouble. He exited the halls of the school and immediately realized it was raining heavily. Ethan ran under the covered walkway that rimmed the school's front perimeter. He decided to make a break for it. He ran into the rain as fast as he could, running past buses attempting to get away. Then he was picked up by his next-door neighbor's familiar truck and dropped off at home. He was planning to change clothes, But before he could enter the house, another rift happened. "Oh, great," said Ethan. He was once again engulfed. Then he heard voices again, too, but this time he recognized one of the voices was actually his own. "Where am I?" he said. "We've decided that until the rift takes you back, you're part of our family," he heard Grandma Longneck's voice saying. Ethan heard his own voice, now adamant and excited. "We need to defend this valley. Isn't that something worth fighting for? Isn't that something worth dying for? Who's with me?" Then the old one spoke. "Ethan, I'll remember you for as long as I live." This would all make sense if there was an actual story describing all of this. Seeing the last story that I read only led up to, him being injured, and now you go to this story and all of a sudden he's back home again. Oh my God! Suddenly it was Ethan's own voice again in his ears. "This is where they die. Charge." He heard another female voice, one he had heard before when he came that first time into the valley, saying softly, "Do you remember the way to the Great Valley?" The voices swirled in his mind, until finally Ethan again regained This is how they spelled consciousness. CONSIENTIOUSNSS. That's not how you spell it! Get a fucking dictionary, you dipshit! I am sorry for swearing. I am sorry for getting frustrated, but this author has pissed me off to the extreme. His sequel has a lot of stuff missing in it. He just did this whole stupid fast forward because he was too lazy to write out the events. He ended his first story on a frickin' cliffhanger. So I guess a little misspelling just pissed me off a little. Well, expect that a lot in this story because I am so frustrated with this series already, and I'm only in the second story. He got up slowly, walked into the cave that once again replaced his house. He picked up his sword and went into the valley. There he saw Grandma Longneck near Littlefoot's home. Grandpa Longneck was at a meeting and Littlefoot was out playing. Ethan walked down to where Grandma Longneck was standing. "Ethan, you've returned," said Grandma Longneck. "I know, it's good to be back," Ethan replied. Ethan asked her where Littlefoot and Grandpa Longneck were, then began on his way to the meadows. He ran past Allie's herd. The herd had stayed on since the time Ethan had first saved the valley 1 month ago. The old one was shocked. She couldn't believe Ethan had returned. "Ethan, wait," the old one in a hurry. Said the old one in a hurry to greet him. "Oh, I didn't see you there." "How could you miss her, seeing she's gigantic? She's like the size of a house." Well, probably bigger than a house, but still. "Old one, it's good to see you again," said Ethan. "There's a lot of grammar mistakes, but right now I'm not going to bother pointing them out, unless they're really bad ones." "I know, I was just about to say the same thing, Ethan," the old one replied. Ethan left to find Littlefoot. Up ahead he saw an adult female Triceratops with Topsy. Okay, who the fuck is Topsy? Mind you, I haven't really seen all the Land Before Time movies. I didn't really care for the sequels. I only like the original, so Topsy's probably a character from those series. I don't know. "Ethan, you're back," said Topsy, as Ethan ran past. Hey, Topsy, and who is this other person with you?" Ethan replied. I'm Tria. You must be the human who saved our valley," said Tria. Then Ethan left to find the gang. He found Littlefoot and the rest of the gang playing in the Thundering Falls. Ethan walked down to where they were. Suddenly, they threw a large rock near where Ethan was walking. "I got it," yelled Ethan. "How could they throw things? They don't have hands! Or the two that do have hands are too small to throw things," yelled Littlefoot, but Ethan caught it. "Heads up," Ethan said happily. He threw it back. Littlefoot turned around, beaming proudly to see Ethan had returned. "Ethan, when did you get here?" Sarah asked. "Oh, just about a few minutes ago," Ethan replied. "Hen. Don't you mean..." They mean then. They mean then. The thing is, they stupidly put a space between the T and the H, so it says T-hen. Ethan joined into what could be called an early version of soccer. Yes, Yes, this story is trying to make me believe that soccer was not invented by humans, but it was invented by dinosaurs! After half an hour of playing, Ethan decided to go and speak to the old one as well as Allie, who wasn't with Littlefoot in the gang. When Ethan walked back to where the old one's herd was grazing, he passed Allie's mother and finally met up with the old one. I was hoping I could speak with you a little longer, said Ethan, as he sat near the base of the old one's neck. Okay, old one replied. Well, what was that about your promise? I think I just fulfilled it once again, Ethan replied. The old one lowered her head and nuzzled Ethan, showing she was glad Ethan had returned. Then Allie woke up and got up slowly. Hi, Ethan. I'm sorry. Hi, Allie, said Ethan. Allie looked up at him filled with excitement. I think you're missing some words there. Ethan, Allie yelled, running over to Ethan. So I guess Allie isn't shy around him anymore? So what happened after you left the valley? She asked quizzically. Oh, everything was just the way it had been, even before the last rift came. I had no idea another was coming, Ethan replied. We have to go and welcome some visitors, interjected the old one. Ethan knew he was definitely invited to come along. He knew the new visitors would be welcome, just as the old one's herd was welcomed the 3 times they visited before choosing to permanently live in the Great Valley. Everyone met up at the Canyon Pass. There were 2 large sauropods. Oh, never mind. They are missing a comma, so it should say there. 2 sauropods entered through the Canyon Pass. One was an old gray male diplodocus, whatever that is. He had a scar running down from above his eye to the bottom of his head. The other, a brownish female whatever, not as old as the male, but old. Okay, well, they're old. Ethan recognized as Doc. The other he'd never seen, he never even heard of. But Littlefoot told Ethan that Doc's partner was named Dara. Doc then spotted Ethan leaning against a tree. He lowered his head to Ethan, demanding an explanation. Who are you? Said Doc in a distrusting manner. I'm Ethan Sullivan, Ethan replied, not trusting Doc either, despite having seen the 6th film where Doc is introduced. When Ethan was an 8-year-old, but Ethan still didn't trust Doc at all. Doc then turned to Littlefoot. Hey kid, do you know anything about that creature leaning against the tree? Doc asked him. That's Ethan. He's a human. Last month he saved the Great Valley from its doom, Littlefoot replied. How do you know he's not some new Sharptooth? Doc replied. Yeah, Sharptooth, yeah, right. He's not. If he was, he wouldn't be on our side, Littlefoot replied. Doc, come on. Didn't you hear that humans saved the valley once? Said Dara. Old One came over to where Ethan was standing. Come on, let's not make these guests worry, said Old One. Old One, wait a minute, Ethan replied as he saw another figure enter. One of the rainbow faces. It was the female. Ethan and the others wondered what had happened to the male. Ethan then walked over to the rainbow-faced female Gallimimus. Where is the other rainbow face? Said Ethan. Wouldn't you like to know? He went somewhere else, the female rainbow face replied. Well, that was rude. Ethan left then with the Old One, both of them heading back to the center where they could speak with each other. Old One, why did you put your life on the line last time? You were nearly killed, Ethan said. I had to do something. At the moment when you said, who's with me? Then well, Ethan, I found the courage to fight, the Old One replied. Gee, that would be nice if we could actually know more about this fight, if it was actually written in the story instead of skipping it completely and having this story instead. But maybe part of me should be grateful because that means the story is shorter. At your age, you were nearly killed. I would rather die than see you suffer, Old One, Ethan replied. Then I would rather die defending this valley than cowering like I usually did when my herd was attacked, Old One replied. Well, if I do die, then just forget about me. At my age, I am nothing, the Old One replied. That's not true, Old One. You're something. Even your herd... Don't you mean Y-O-U-R, not Y-O-U apostrophe R-E? with the apostrophe R-E, it's an abbreviation for R. So if I was to translate that, unabbreviated, it would say, even you are heard, says you are the wisest one here. The second you are makes sense, but not the first one. And if you die, no one should forget about you. They need to remember you, Ethan replied. Night fell and Ethan felt too lazy to walk back to Littlefoot's home and too tired. Ethan fell asleep immediately. Good night, Ethan, said Old One. A tear came to Old One's eye. Both she and Ethan knew that Old One only had about 10 more months to live. Old One laid down next to Ethan and fell asleep alongside him. Meanwhile, on the planet Arrakis, also known as Dune, Andrew walked into Harkonnen base. On the way, he passed the Baron's doctor and feed, whatever, then reached the Baron's room. Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, said Andrew. What do you want? The Baron replied. Last month a rift came and my rival, Ethan Sullivan, and I were engulfed in it. We went to a place called the Great Valley. I want this place, the Great Valley, claimed, and my rival eliminated, Andrew replied. What's in it for me? The Baron replied. How about control of Arrakis, or Dune as you call it, and more spice than you could possibly need, Andrew replied. Sounds good. By the way, who are you? The Baron asked. Andrew Jones, Andrew replied. Okay, it's official. These movies should be called... These fanfics should be called The Journey Across the Movies instead of The Journey Across Time. Because this Belmont character or author is trying to imply that the events in The Land Before Time were true, and that the events in Dune were true, and that they're all part of the same timeline. They are not! This is just fucked up. This really is. Back at the Great Valley, Ethan woke up and began to rise slowly. Suddenly he saw something charging towards him and the Old One, who was still asleep. No way. Oh, this can't be happening, said Ethan, realizing what was charging at him. A Carcharodontosaurus. I'm not sure if I said that right. And that's a really long name. So I think I'll just give it a nickname and call it Karchi, just to make things easier. Ethan got out his sword while trying to wake Old One and warn her of the danger coming their way. Come on, wake up quickly, Ethan said. Old One woke up. She was behind Ethan, watching in horror as the Karchi whatever. Ethan charged at it, sword in hand. He dodged the Carcharos. Okay, so they have a nickname for it there. I don't get why they can't just call it that in the first place instead of showing the long name. Jaws, and grabbed onto its head. Wow, he's actually using punctuations for once. Congratulations, you get a cookie! The Carcharo screamed as it took damage from the blade of Ethan's sword. After a few more swift jabs, the Carcharo fell dead. It was shocking, as it had always been for Ethan, to have a large carnivore fall before a 14-year-old boy, but it happened. And yet this 14-year-old boy cannot defend himself in school. Well, Ethan always believed the old saying, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Lame! Ethan put his sword away and stood before the Carcharo's corpse. How's that for training, he said. The Old One congratulated Ethan. They headed toward the center of the valley, where they knew their friends would be. Ethan told everyone about the Carcharo. It's showing the real name, but I'm just calling it the Carcharo because, saying that out loud is, it's a bit of a tongue twister. Who attacked them both. Ethan headed off alone then, when a Harkonnen ship flew by and dropped a canister that landed near Ethan's feet. What's this? Ethan said as he picked up the canister. Inside it was a note that read, Ethan, I see you've returned. Well, so have I. I'm with Harkonnen. Now they will wipe out that valley and kill you before you know it. Now you're screwed, Ethan. Vengeance is mine. What's with this guy and wanting to kill this 14-year-old kid? This is just stupid. Andrew Jones, no way, he's back, Ethan yelled. The old one looked at the letter. Didn't we defeat him last month? She questioned. I would not know that because it wasn't actually written down in fanfic. Unless this person has the titles messed up, but we'll see next week when we read the next one. Until then, let's continue to read this pile of shit. He didn't die. Andrew just got thrown out the last rift while I got to stay longer, Ethan replied. Convenient, because it would make more sense to have the main villain die, but we can't have that happen. Why don't we just defeat these Harkonnen guys like we defeated the Spartans, said Allie. We could, but we would suffer a lot of fatalities. The Harkonnen use guns which make them a lot harder to defeat. We could run at them, but they could just shoot us from a distance, Ethan replied. Then we're done for, said Petrie's mother. No, we're not. I have something that could contact anything in the universe. I'm sure we could use it to contact Atreides' house, the enemy of Harkonnen, Ethan replied. A call for help, Grandma Longneck replied. Exactly, Ethan replied. Replied! Use a different word! But how do you know you can trust these so-called Atreides? Well, they are the protagonists in the movie Dune, so they must be good, said Doc. They're humans like me. I can trust them. They're noble. Yes, 'cause all humans are noble, Ethan replied. Then everyone left. Ethan left with Littlefoot. At the nest, Ethan, Littlefoot, Grandma Longneck, and Grandpa Longneck all planned how they were going to contact the Atreides. I know my lines, said Ethan, knowing what he was going to say to them. It was dark. Night had fallen, and they were all exhausted. They all went to sleep. The next morning, Ethan and the others awoke, and the four of them headed off to the center of the valley. Ethan then constructed a huge satellite dish with the help of everyone else. And, what exactly? I don't believe that there was metals and stuff back in the days of the Great Valley. What did they use? Like, tie a bunch of twigs together? Once activated, it could send any message to anywhere in the universe. So fucking stupid. Then Ethan started to record a message, a call for help. Duke, Leader Atreides, my name is Ethan Sullivan. I am on the planet known as Earth, about 4 million miles from Arrakis. My rival, Andrew Jones, has joined the Baron. The Harkonnen are planning to claim a place called the Great Valley and wiping out the residents. Andrew is planning to take his revenge. I ask for assistance. You are our only hope. Well, geez, this is ripping off Star Wars big time. Just give Ethan buns on the side and he can be Princess Leia, said Ethan as he spoke into a microphone. Where did he get a microphone? This is supposed to be prehistoric times. That would be like saying that this phaser existed back then. It doesn't make any sense because it doesn't. Even this razor would be implausible. Then he transmitted the message in hopes that it would reach House Atreides. Suddenly, a Harkonnen ship appeared and started firing on the valley. I'll handle this, Ethan said. He climbed up a tree and jumped, barely grabbing the front of the suicide bomber. Ethan drove his sword through the front window, killing the pilot. Then he climbed in and grabbed the controls. He flew the ship towards the mysterious beyond. Ethan scrambled back to the outside front of the ship's hull. He closed his eyes and jumped off. When he opened his eyes, he was free falling, knowing he wouldn't survive the impact. Then he spotted a river near Thundering Falls. He pinned his arms close to his sides, stuck his head forward, and attempted to steer himself in the direction of the river. Ethan closed his eyes and began to pray, hoping he would survive. Oh boy. In reality, he would die, but let me guess, he's going to survive. Grandma Longneck ran over to the Thundering Falls. Ethan landed right in the water. Convenient! Everyone ran to see if he was alive. Ethan came up for air and saw everyone stare, then sigh in relief. We thought you died, said Grandma Longneck. Well, good for you, Ethan replied as he clambered out of the river. Did I mention that Ethan is an asshole? This is not good. The Harkonnen now know we're here, said Topsy. There must be a solution to this, Grandpa Longneck replied. Yeah, right, Longneck, Topsy replied. Would you two just shut up? Ethan yelled, tired of the argument. No one tells a three-horn to shut up, Topsy replied. Who the heck cares? Ethan replied, showing his anger. Everyone calmed down, but they were all quite amazed. Topsy was thought to be the toughest resident in the Great Valley, yet Ethan had proven him wrong with ease. Everyone went home, still wondering how this war was to be resolved, and if that message had reached the Atreides. Ethan went to the cave. He sat on his bed and decided to sleep there since the weather was freezing. Well, isn't that his home, so wouldn't it make sense for him to sleep there anyway? While falling asleep, he had another dream, oddly both disturbing and peaceful. He saw Nick Frost, his childhood teenage friend, sacrifice himself to save Littlefoot's mother while in another rift. He then saw a younger version of Littlefoot with his mother. Littlefoot's mother was teaching him what she had heard from Nick, as well as everything she learned from him. Because of this, Ethan grinned slightly in his sleep. The next morning, everyone woke up immediately, then went down into the valley. Ethan met up with Littlefoot and his grandparents. They went to the meeting place. Everyone else was there. Did I miss anything in the last 2 minutes? Ethan said as he yawned. Yes, I'm afraid you did, Allie's mother replied, weeping. What happened to you? Ethan asked. 2 flyers had kidnapped my beloved Allie, Allie's mother replied. Oh, great. Can you describe them? Yeah, you sound like you really care, Ethan jackass Sullivan, Ethan asked. Allie's mother gave an explicit description. Oh no, those 2 are Rinkus and Sierra, Littlefoot said. Ethan asked, Do you know where they went? No, I don't, Allie's mother replied. But I do, a voice said. Everyone looked to the sky and saw Pitano. It's you again. I could have sworn I exiled you, Topsy said. You did, but the 5 cold times have passed, haven't they? Petrino replied. No, they haven't, Topsy yelled. Wait, he might help us find out where Rinkus and Sierra went, Ethan said. He could, after all, Littlefoot said. Pitano knew them, the old one joined. Ethan, Littlefoot, Pitano, and the gang split up into 3 groups. Pitano and Petrie, Ethan and Littlefoot, and Sarah, Ducky, and Spike. Whatever. Uncle, where did they go? Said Petrie. No worries. Rinkus and Sierra may be sinister, but nevertheless stupid. They probably chose an obvious hiding spot, Pitanos replied. On ground level, Ethan and Littlefoot searched the mysterious beyond. It's no use. I don't think either of them would be stupid enough to stay on the ground, said Ethan. We've got to keep looking, Littlefoot replied. In another area, Sarah, Ducky, and Spike were also searching. I haven't found anything. Nope, 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 said Ducky. Neither have I or Spike, Sarah replied. Meanwhile, in the air, Petrie and Paterno kept flying around looking. Paterno peered into a cave, and inside he saw Rinkus and Sierra. I found them, Paterno yelled. Yay, good way to let them know that you're right there! Petrie looked and saw them both then too. They went to tell the others. They both swooped down to the ground level and spotted Ethan and Littlefoot. Did you two find anything? Ethan asked. Yes, the 2 we're looking for, Paterno replied. Where? Littlefoot asked. In a cave, high above the ground, Paterno replied. How are we supposed to get up there? Said Ethan. I have no idea, said Paterno replied, or whatever his name is. So that idea was executed. Paterno was carrying the gang on his back and Ethan hanging from his talons. You'd better not drop me, Ethan said. Why, are you scared of heights? Paterno replied. No, but I hate to experience a 50-foot fall, Ethan replied. They landed in the cave. Ethan drew his sword, and they all began to search the cave. Rinkus and Sierra could be planning to ambush them. Come on. Come out from behind the curtain. Show yourselves, Ethan yelled. Sure, a voice said. Then Ethan, as well as the rest of the gang, saw the 2 flyers holding Allie over a 70-foot drop. Don't move or the little long-neck die, Sierra said. Do what he says, Littlefoot said. Surrendering, Ethan drew his sword. Or threw his sword. Good, Sierra said. Rinkus brought Allie back over the edge. They both came over to kill everyone, but then Ethan looked at Rinkus. There's one thing you need to know. I never surrender. And he quickly picked up his sword and tore Rinkus's right wing. Okay, that was stupid. If they were planning on killing them anyway, well, whatever. Rinkus screamed in pain. Ethank? Don't you mean Ethan? Why the fuck is there a K at the end of his name? Shoved Rinkus over the edge. Everyone went for Sierra next. Ethan lunged at him, then parried an attack from Sierra. Then drove his sword through Sierra's left wing and tore a hole in his right. Goodbye, Littlefoot yelled as he butted Sarah, causing him to fall. But Sarah was determined he wasn't going down alone. He groped for Allie, but she ran from the edge, leaving Sarah to fall. I'll be back, Sarah yelled. I seriously doubt you will, but if you do, we'll be waiting. And we'll be ready, Ethan replied as he watched Sierra fall. I think we should be heading home, Paterno said. So they all headed back to the Great Valley. Once Paterno landed, everyone walked or flew towards the valley center where Allie's mother stood expecting the worst. Over here, Old One exclaimed. They all turned to see Ethan walking slowly, Littlefoot and the gang by his side, as well as Paterno and Allie. We're back, Ethan said triumphantly. Allie, you're safe, Allie's mother exclaimed. I know, Mother, Allie replied. So we got Allie back, and we couldn't have done it without Ethan, Ethan said, pointing at Paterno. Paterno, thank you. To show my appreciation, you may now stay in the Great Valley, Grandpa Longneck said. Thank you, Paterno replied. I hope you didn't forget we still have the Harkonnen to deal with, Ethan said. Don't worry, we didn't, Grandpa Longneck replied. Oh crap, look, Ethan yelled, as 20 Harkonnen troops rushed into the valley. Oh no, Grandma Longneck cried. This is not good, Littlefoot said. Ethan once more drew his sword and pointed it at the rapidly approaching Harkonnen troops. Fearlessly he charged. The troops stopped and fired their guns, but no one was hit. So, do they have, like, really bad accuracy, or what? I mean, hello, this technology is supposed to be, like, way advanced, and they're fighting against, like, animals, for God's sake. Ethan struck down the first Harkonnen infantryman, then jumped up and hit the second. What does the sword make? Oh, whatever. This is very unrealistic, but let's just continue to read. He struck up behind a third and stabbed him in the back. Four infantrymen ran at Old One, but she swung her tail hard and brought them all down. One more went for the elderly Apatosaur. Old One swung her tail at him and hit the Harkonnen soldier in the face, knocking the helmet off his head as the soldier was felled. The battle raged for 2 more hours. Then a heavy infantryman came at Ethan and pinned him on the ground while holding a combat knife to Ethan's face. Only Ethan's hand kept the knife from stabbing him. Ethan, Allie yelled. Ethan responded. Allie, hopefully you haven't forgotten my role in this tale. I'm the leading man. You know what they say about the leading man, Ethan said. Then Allie gasped happily. He never dies, Ethan said. I guess you haven't seen the movie Sweeney Todd. You see Sweeney Todd, the leading man in that movie? He died! Oh, Romeo and Juliet. Well, Romeo was the leading man in that, and he also died. Shall I continue the list? Fucking idiot. Knocking the knife out of the Harkonnen's hand, Ethan stabbed him in the face, then pushed the infantryman's corpse off his body to rise to his feet before Doc ran in. I saw everything, kid. Littlefoot was right. You are on our side, Doc said. Just then an Atreides ship descended on the valley. Geez, a bit too late, buddies. It landed, opened its doors, and about 30 Atreides troops marched out, as well as Paul Atreides. We got your message. You sure sounded like you needed a hand, but to think a kid contacted us, Paul said. Yes, I know. The Harkonnen will arrive again by tomorrow. We must prepare for battle, Ethan replied. When the next day arrived, Ethan, the residents, and the Atreides stood up in the largest army ever. Those Harkonnen threatened to take this valley just like the Spartans, and Andrew wants revenge. We defeated the Spartans. Now it's time to show the Harkonnen what we're made of. Our goal is to protect this valley. Not the stone walls, but those living within it, Ethan said. Through the canyon pass came the Harkonnen. No mercy, the Baron yelled. I don't take prisoners. Kill every last one of them, Andrew yelled. As the Harkonnen began to fire their guns, Ethan drew, then raised his sword. For the valley, Ethan yelled, as they charged. What the fuck is this? Let's continue. The Atreides fired on the Harkonnen. As they clashed, Ethan counted. As he killed the first few infantry, 5, 6, 7, he counted. I'm on 20, Doc yelled. and the sauropods swung their tails, taking down many Harkonnen troops. One Harkonnen soldier climbed on Old One. Die, you darn piece of crap. You darn piece of crap? What the fuck is this? You have absolutely no problem with violence in the story, and yet you can't write down the word damn? Seriously? The Harkonnen infantryman yelled. Try me, the Old One replied, as she shook the Harkonnen off her head, then stepped on his face. Littlefoot head-butted Fide onto the ground. Then Doc picked Fide up with his tail and slammed Fide into the ground, killing him. Grandma and Grandpa Longneck fought alongside each other and were taking down the Harkonnen forces swiftly. Ethan was almost at the Baron as he hacked through what seems like at least 100 soldiers by now. Suddenly Andrew yelled out, Hey Ethan, let's fight. Very well, Ethan replied. Geez, they were yelling out to each other like they're friends in grade school. The gruesome duel began. Ethan swung his sword at Andrew. The two locked swords. Ethan kicked Andrew to the chest, knocking him backward. Is that the best you can do? Ethan said. No, you're just too soft, so I'm going easy on you, Andrew replied. Andrew lunged at Ethan and scratched his arm. Andrew kicked Ethan onto the ground. Old One, who was in the heat of battle, caught sight of Ethan on the ground. She knew Andrew was planning on killing him. Something tells me that the Old One's gonna die in this story. Ethan, the Old One yelled as she ran, attempting to kill Andrew, but Andrew was too fast. Deftly, he stepped to the inside as she charged, then thrust his sword back at her neck as she turned to face him. Get back, Andrew yelled. His sword glinted in the sun, the tip of the blade barely touching the base of the Old One's neck as Ethan got up. Andrew's voice was menacing. Ethan, if you come at me, then she will die. Now, admit defeat. Andrew held his sword to the Old One, threatening to kill the elderly Apatosaurus. Why kill me? I'll be dead soon, Old One said. Andrew, don't you know if she dies here... Wait. Andrew, don't you know if she dies here there will still be a valley to save? Old One isn't the leader of anything in this valley except her herd. You're taking the wrong hostage, and I will never admit defeat, Ethan said proudly. Well, that was lame. So you have absolutely no problem with this guy killing your friend because she's the wrong hostage? I'm sure she feels real great about that. Darn you, Andrew said. Use the word damn! I'm sorry, but this just looks so childish. You have a lot of blood and violence and vicious deaths in this story, and yet you can't put down a swear. Grow some balls. Jeez, I probably have more balls than you, and I'm not even a man. He ran at Ethan, who jumped over Andrew and drove his sword right into Andrew's spine, paralyzing him. Ethan held his sword over Andrew's body. Oh, and by the way, I'm not soft, Ethan said, as he delivered the final blow, impaling Andrew. Ethan saw Paul Atreides defeat the Baron at the same time. The battle was over. The Harkonnen soldiers surrendered and the valley was safe. Suddenly a hole appeared in the sky, a rift. It took Andrew's body, setting him back to his own world. As it happened, Andrew became alive again and said, I'll be back. You can't just magically come back to life just because you get sucked into a time rift. I mean, how? Does it, like, magically heal his wound or what? I mean, this is just stupid. I know I have died in my episode, but you want to know what? I've had Dragon Balls to bring me back. And when I killed Susan, I used Dragon Balls to bring her back. As far as I know, there's no Dragon Balls in this story. Jesus Christ! You can't just have these things happen because you feel like it. You have to explain these things. Explain them! Then he went through the rift as it closed. Sorry, I lost my place. We've all claimed victory. Maybe someday we could become legends. The legend of the Great Valley. That would be something in the future. Well, it's over for now. But when another force threatens the valley, everyone will be ready, Ethan said. Well, it's over. Even on Arrakis, this will be something to tell the Duke, Paul said. as he and the rest of the Atreides troop entered the carryall and left. Too soon the day came when Ethan had to return to his own world. "See ya, Ethan," Littlefoot said. "Okay, I'll see you all next month," Ethan replied, and the rift took Ethan back to his home. The end. Credits. Credits? What the? Sorry, I just wanted to run credits for the heck of it. This isn't a movie, this is a fanfic! You gotta be kidding me. There is seriously credits. A Belmont 2500 story, The Land Before Time Unleashed 2 Redemption. Well, that's not the title that fanfiction.net has for it. Sequel to The Land Before Time Unleashed. That's not what the story is called. The Land Before Time Journey Across Time. It's not called Land Before Time Unleashed. My God! Do you not know the titles of your own stories? Inspired by Jedi 472, the archive and other members note most of the casting is fake. No actors were needed. It's actually a tribute to the actors and actresses from the original Land Before Time movie. Cast: Ethan Sullivan, Josh Hutcherson, Littlefoot, Gabriel Damon, Old One, Carol Bruce, Sarah, Candace Hudson, Ducky, Judith Barcy, Petrie, Will Ryan, Spike, Rob Paulson, Allie, Julia Henson, Allie's mother, unknown voice actress, Andrew Jones, Tom Felton, Doc, Christopherson, Dara, Susan Blue, voice of Littlefoot's mother, Helen Shaver, Grandma Longneck, Lindy Gary, Grandpa Longneck, Kenneth Mars, Nick Frost, Thomas Decker, Rinkus, Rob Paulson, Sierra, Jim Cummings, Paul Atreides, Michael McCullahan, The Baron, Kenneth Millen, female, rainbow face, unknown voice actress, Kercharo, whatever, Rob Paulson, Fide Sting, Harkonnen, Heavy Trooper, Gene Clyde, Van Dame, Topsy, Burke, Binus, Petro, Michael York, Petrie's mother, Tress McNelly, Tria, Cameron Manheim, and you. I'm in the credits? Oh, jeez. Whatever. No, R.E.P. Judith Barcy and Carol Bruce. Disclaimer, I do not own The Land Before Time. Well, that concludes the second story of this Land Before Time series, The Journey Across Time. My review of this story, it sucked. It was confusing. There was no chapters. It was all one huge... It wasn't broken up into chapters whatsoever. The author skipped a whole bunch of things and just explained it in the brief little stupid paragraph thing because they were too lazy to write it in the story. It made no sense. It was very unrealistic, and it's just stupid. It's just becoming more and more confusing. And the fact that they had credits at the end. Credits! Belmont, this is a fanfic, not a movie! Jesus Christ! Well, I'm done with this one, but next week I have to read the third movie, or the third story. Hopefully it'll make more sense than this, but something tells me it's not going to. Well, I'm the FanFic Critic. I read it. You listen. And I'm going to go sharpen this blade because I'm probably going to need it next week.